Alrighty, what's up, everybody? My peeps, my beautiful peeps, and you other pieces of garbage. It is I, your tribal god of extreme, Peter Joseph here, for a Wednesday evening video, right here, on the Peter Joseph YouTube wrestling channel, youtube.com/Peter Joseph. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down there in my pants, otherwise known as the description box below. So subscribe to this channel and my other channels as well. Show your love and support. Leave a comment on the video if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to, please do it. But don't leave stupid comments. You'll get sent to the Shadow Realm. Satan will eat your soul, and then you'll be blocked for a lifetime. So please don't do that. If you can't follow simple rules, then you need to get your ass kicked. And then pretty much blocked and sent to the Shadow Realm, like I said before. So please do not do that. Respect my channels, and if not, go to your dead channels where nobody watches you. And that's that. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Surely love and support there. And share the video all over the internet, and most importantly, tap and slap that bell. Turn on all notifications so you don't miss the next one. Because you miss anything, you need to get slapped in the face. You know why? Because you, fat boy, you, or SOL. And I think you all know what that means by now. And if you don't know, look it up. Simple as that. Simple as that. And for all our first-time viewers, if you're just floating around YouTube, you see my gorgeous, sexy face. And you've never seen me before in your lifetime, and you want to see what the craziness is going on, then you came to the right place. And if you're thinking about subscribing, please do. Now, don't forget to hit that bell, share it with your friends, and all the good shit. And as we say in the business, when you do subscribe, welcome to the party, pal! We hope you enjoy the ride. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite cold one, put your feet up, and enjoy the show. If you like it, great, there's the door. Don't let it hit your fat ass on the way out. Go to somebody else's channel, block me. I don't give a shit what you do. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. You like it? Great. Too bad. That's that. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, hope everybody had a great Wednesday, mid part of the week, for the first official week of May. It is May the 7th, 2025. We got AEW Dynamite coming up in about 45 minutes from now from Detroit Rock City. That's Detroit, Michigan, for you dumb people that don't know what it is. Alright, so we got back-to-back episodes of AEW Dynamite tonight and Collision tomorrow night on TBS. So we got a lot of wrestling this week. We got SmackDown tomorrow, TNA Ring of Honor also, SmackDown Friday, and TNA Ring of Honor and Collision for that ice on tomorrow night. So check that out. Should be great. But we got that. But we got Dynamite tonight. Should be a great show. We got Samoa Joe taking on the Swiss Claudio Castagnoli. So it's a little, 1 week before Samoa Joe goes for the AEW World title and faces John Moxley inside a steel cage, brother, at Beach Break. That's in Chicago, Illinois, next week. We got that. We got a fatal 4-way #1 contenders match. I don't know why this match is happening. We got Timeless Tony Storm Jogging bosom. And when Tony Storm comes out, chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. Alright, so Tony Storm is facing Penelope Ford, Anna Jay, the woman with a fat ass and a bad attitude, and Thunder Rosa. Yay! Alright, so I don't know why Tony Storm's in a #1 contenders match for her own title. Makes no sense to me. Tony Khan must be sniffing that, not even sniffing, snorting that coke. But we got that. We're going to hear from the Hangman, Adam Page. We all know what he's going to be doing. He's going to do some cowboy shit. And we're also going to hear from his opponent at Double or Nothing in the Men's Owen Hart Finals, and that's Will Ospreay. Reach for the sky, whoa! Bam! Alright, we got that, and a whole lot more tonight on AEW Dynamite, your 2-hour cure for insomnia. It's good stuff tonight, good stuff. As we are a couple weeks away from Double or Nothing in Phoenix, Arizona, going head-to-head with NXT Battleground, which, Battleground is looking pretty good. Pretty good so far. We already know who Femi's next opponent is, and it's somebody that we never thought would be. We got that. We got Stephanie Vakura's next opponent for her women's title. And we'll see what else happens on the road to Tampa. And we got that. We also found out on the dirt sheets that Jey Uso, who got beat up after Monday Night Raw, and I'll do my Monday Night Raw review probably later tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that. Jey Uso, who defeated Seth Rollins thanks to Sami Zayn and CM Punk, to retain his world title. After Raw went off the air, he got knocked the fuck out by Logan Paul, and they're thinking of having the world title match, not at Money in the Bank, but it's going to be at Saturday night's main event, pretty much 2 weeks before Money in the Bank. So we got that. So it's going to probably, so they're looking at Jey Uso and Logan Paul for the Raw World title, and I hope Logan Paul does not win it. I don't think he will, but we never know. In this wacky world of wrestling. But we got that. We got that and a whole lot more to come in the next couple weeks before we hit June. And June 7th is a double pay-per-view, another double pay-per-view for that ace, but AEW is not going head-to-head with, as far as I know, AEW is not going head-to-head with NXT or the main roster, because June 7th, we got a double pay-per-view. Like I said, at 3 p.m., we got NXT Worlds Collide. I guess it's going to be NXT versus Triple A. That should be fun. That's at 3 o'clock, and then I believe at 7 p.m., so right after the pay-per-view ends, we got about a break. We have an hour break, and then we go right into Money in the Sperm Bank, which I think, I don't even know where Money in the Bank is. I think it's in L.A., I think. But, yeah, I think it's in L.A., but anyway, we move on with that. Alright, so we got that. It's going to be a long day of wrestling. It's about a month away from Money in the Money in the Bank weekend, because Money in the Bank at 7. But before that, we got NXT. So there you go. So it should be a great Saturday of action. At least 7, maybe 8 hours of wrestling. And you think about it, you got the scrums after that. After NXT and after Money in the Bank. So, Hunter and HBK are going to be there. I think it's in 2 different arenas. So, because it will make no sense to have 2 shows in 1 arena. But, for the same night. But I don't know what they're going to do. But we'll see what happens with that. But we'll talk about Money in the Bank probably next week. We do got Backlash this Saturday night. I will not be watching it live because I will be out. So I'm not going to be at a bar watching it. I'm going somewhere else. But when I come home from there, I'll be home a little bit late. So I will watch watch Backlash, and then maybe do the review the same night, depending on how tired I am. If not, I'll do it Sunday along with the Collision review. Oh, what am I talking about? No, there is no Collision review. I'm sorry. Collision review I'll probably do Friday. along with TNA, Ring of Honor, and all the good stuff. Because, like I said, it's Mother's Day weekend, so I will be pretty busy the whole weekend, except for maybe Friday. Friday is pretty my, free day, not doing anything. But Saturday and Sunday, I will be pretty busy. I'll probably be out the entire weekend. So, but we'll see what happens with that. And that's that. But anyway, hope you having a great Wednesday. Hope you had a great day. Nice and sunny here in the Northeast, 70-something degrees today. Thankfully, no rain. But tomorrow, here in the Northeast, break out the umbrellas. Is going to pour like crazy. Sometime tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon into all day Friday, into maybe the morning of the overnight Saturday. So Friday night, if you're going out, bring an umbrella. Or just not go out. Go on Saturday. But, so we'll see what happens with that. But, hope everybody's having a great day, like I said. And we move on with that. We got Dynamite coming up in a little bit. And we'll talk about that probably later or maybe tomorrow. We got Raw, too, I gotta do. But that's that. Alright, on this beautiful, warm Wednesday evening, May the 7th, 2025, right here on the Peter Joseph channel. I'm Peter Joseph, your wild and crazy host. I am a content creator talking about the wonderful world of professional wrestling or whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And if you like it, great. You don't, go fuck yourself. That's that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Right now. Now. We're at now. Everything's happening now is happening right now. Well, Peter, what happened then? We missed it. You missed it. Everything happened then, you missed. Anyway, so right now it is time for your late and out-of-date NXT review for last night, May the 6th. Be with you. Or Revenge of the 6th, whatever you want to call it. May the 6th, 2025. And once again, we are emanating from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida. Alright, another week of NXT action. It was a pretty decent show. And as always, our commentary team on NXT, the man with the creepy jacket, lots of candy. You know him, you love him. It's Vic Joseph. And next to him is the man who's about to have baby number 2 with Carmella, and that is Corey Slave. And next to him, well, not next to him, but on the other side of him, is the man who smokes more fucking weed than you do. The Kool-Aid man himself, Booker T, sucker! Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, Booker T, calm down. Alright, we got that. Alright, so basically the show, we had a 25 man battle royal from, we had members of TNA, we had members from LFG, also had members from Evolve, and from NXT as well. So we had lots of interesting people in this battle royal, and the winner, and we had Trick Willie in it, and the winner of the battle royal faces Oba Dongula Hu Femi at Battleground for the NXT World Title. So we got that. We had Jordan Grace taking on my girl Julia in the main event for a shot at Stephanie Foucault and her NXT Women's Title. But we had a few other matches we'll talk about, other segments, we'll get to that right now. Alright, so we start the show off with different people coming in and chicane, and not so much chicanery. We get all that. Alright, so we get to our first match of the night, a 6-man tag team match. We had Dark State, which was represented by Cutler, Dion Lennox, and Osiris Griffin, with Sugar Ali, or Saquon Ali, whatever his name is, at ringside. And he got involved a little bit, but we'll talk about that a little bit. So they take on the NXT Tag Team Champions, surprisingly, Hank and Spank, or Hank and Tank, whatever you want to call them, Hank and Spank, and their partner, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, say his name, and he appears. Sing with me now. I believe in Joe Hendry. Alright. Alright, so Hank and Spank team with team with Joe Hendry, who got beat up by Dark State last week. So that's how that match came about. So we get that. Alright, we start off with Dark State, all of them, jumping the Joe Hendry and the tag team champions really fast as Dion Lennox hits a spine buster on Tank for a near fall. Hank comes in for a backsplash on Cutler James, and it's off to Joe Hendry for a delayed vertical suplex. And then Tank comes back, but he gets taken down by Dion Lennox. And then Joe Hendry gets the tag. So lots of fast tags early on. And then all 6 men in the ring. Joe Hendry cleans house all by himself. And then Hank almost gets caught in Hendry's fall-away slam. Oops. But instead, they pause and then they do the 3-second pose. I can't do the pose, I'm sorry. But anyway, we move on with that. We move on now. Alright, we go to break, we come right back. Hank hammers away on Jones. Who's Jones? I don't know who Jones is. But the distraction cuts that off. I think it was maybe Cutler James. But anyway. So Hank gets taken into the wrong corner. And Osiris Griffin gets a near fall off a 1905 backbreaker. And then Cutler James comes in, hits a Lariato clothesline. And then we get another little brief pause. We get a 1904 chinlock. And then Osiris Griffin comes in, hits a power slam for another near fall. But somehow Hank breaks free, gets the hot tag to his partner Tank, who comes in, cleans house, and everybody's in the ring. And then Joe Hendry hits the fall-away slam. He does the kip up. He's all ready to go. And then, he's by the rope. And he's about to, we will rock you. No. So he's about ready to maybe hit his finishing move, the standing ovation. But then Trick Willie! Shimon! Trick Willie comes out, pulls Joe Hendry to the outside. Referee did not see it. And they brawl to the back, which leaves pretty much Tank. I don't know where Hank was, but Tank gets hit with a triple powerbomb of doom. And Dark State goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. Dark State continues their winning ways as they get the win in under 12 minutes. Match was alright. 2.5 out of 5 stars. So it seems like Trick Willie, after what he did at Rebellion and on TNA last week, they're still going at it. And we'll see what comes out of that. And we move on with that. Alright, then we go to the women's locker room with the ladies. And we got 2 pretty hot ladies. We got Carmen Petrovich, who pretty much told Ashanti the Adonis to hit the curb, or hit the bricks, man, get out of here, bitch. And the crazy woman herself, Thea Hale. They're talking about the women's division. And I think they would talk about Sol Ruka, all this other shit. Blah, blah, blah. And then Jada Parker. Miss Parker comes in and basically says, you girls are stupid, you girls ain't anything to write home about. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'm gonna get a title shot, this and that. And then Carmen kind of steps up to Jada and says, hey, why don't you shut your mouth, or I'm gonna shut it for you in that ring. And Jada's like, okay. Alright, so we got Jada Parker taking on Carmen Petrovich a little bit later. But we got that. Alright, 2.25 out of 5 stars for that. And we move on. Alright, then we go to Catch Point 3.1. So we have my girl Maddie Rankowski, along with Mr. Eagle's son Charlie Dempsey, Tavion Heights, and Baby Orton, Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne. They're there, all ready to fight. And pretty much they say, I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win. And then basically they say it's every man for themselves. And we'll see who comes out of that? Maybe one of them wins. I don't know. So I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. And we move on. Alright, match number 2, sticking with the ladies. We got Kaylani Jordan taking on Delta with the new Women's North American Champion, the Surfer Girl, Sol Luca. So, they're there. And this was a pretty decent match. It starts out with Kaylani getting powered out of the corner by Delta to start. Comes right back with a kick to head. And then some shoulder blocks to the ribs. Staggers Delta a little bit, but she comes right back with a gut buster. Gut buster. People love when I say that. Gut buster. Remember back in the day, a lot of people, like, I used to do TNA, were like, Gutter! You know? People love that. So when I go, Gut buster, we got that. Alright, Kalani is fine enough to kick Delta to the floor, only for Delta to be ready as well, she was like right near the turnbuckle, and then Kaylani was about to hit one of a kind, RVD's split-legged moonsault, but Delta was too smart and she rolls to the outside, and then Delta gets knocked down on the outside again. We go to break and we come right back with Delta on the second rope, lifts Kaylani up for a choke, but Kaylani gets out of that, and, she gets out of that and hits a release German suplex. Ow! Then a tornado DDT spikes Delta and gets a near fall for Kaylani. She goes up top, goes to the 450, and missed and rolled through, and then Dahlia hits a mean old spear for a near fall. And then Kaylani hits a standing leg drop into a reverse DDT. Also for a near fall, Delta goes for a choke slam, and Kaylani got out of that. But Delta gets sent to the outside and taken out with a flippy dippity-doo by Kaylani. But then Kaylani gets accidentally, or so we thought, into Sol Luca by mistake, and then, Kaylani's like this, and Sol's like, huh? And then Delta, with a spear through the barricade, and, Sol Luca was like, ah! And she barely got out of the way. Kaylani goes through the freaking barricade. Whew. I don't know, Mello, you might have to give your girlfriend, some, massages. You know what I mean? But anyway, so Delta brings her in, picks her up again, hits the F5, goes for the cover, 1, 2, 3, Delta gets the win in just under 11.5 minutes. So we'll see what happens with that. But pretty good match, 2.5 out of 5 stars. I still see Delta turning on Sol Luca, because there was some, there was, I think it was last week or so. I think it was last week, where they had a little bit of problems, and they were looking at each other oh, what's going on here? So I'm thinking that Delta will eventually turn on Sol Luca and fight her for the Women's North American Championship and win that. So I would say eventually all 3 women that came from Japan, Stephanie, well, not from Japan, Stephanie came from Mexico, or Chile, but Mexico. But anyway, so all 3 women that came over would have won a major title. And Julia won the world title. Stephanie now has the world title, and then she won the Women's North American title at the same time, but then she gave that up. And now Delta might have a chance to win the North American title. But we'll see what happens with that. But like I said, decent match, 2.5 out of 5 stars, and we move on. We move on. Alright, then we go into the men's locker room, and we see my cousin. Hey, Gus! Come here. Stop making that kind of mouth for a second. Get in here. Get in. My cousin. That's my cousin. My legit cousin. I am not making it up. My legit cousin, Tony D'Angelo, who's going to make me a big bowl of calamari. And I get it for $2. You all get a big bowl of calamari from Tony D at his restaurant, you get it for $10.50. And you better tip your waitress. Because if not, Tony D and his crew will kick your ass. That's pretty much it. So anyway, Tony D's in there. And, he's had a pretty tumultuous, last couple weeks, at the last pay-per-view, Stax took him out. And then, Stax took out, Luca Crucifino. We don't know where he's been lately. Adriana Rizzo's at a safe house somewhere. So, not great for the family. And then, we'll see what happens with all that. We did see last week was Stax was on the Tron. And then, I don't know what's happening with him and Tony D right now. Maybe something at Battleground, but we'll see. So anyway, so he's there, looking dapper in his, digs and stuff. And then Wes Lee, Tyreek Igve, and Tyson DuPont come in. They start mocking him and saying, oh, you're not in the Battle Royal, blah, 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 blah. And then Tony's like, all right, tough guy, you guys want to fight? I'd rather fight than talk to a bunch of, 3 douchebags like you. And then, Wesley says, well, we got a battle royal to get ready for. We'll see each other later. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, Tony D's now going to be in the battle royal? Was he? No. Why? Don't know. Alright, so I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we go to, I think, the kitchen or catering. I don't know where we were. But anyway, we see the lovely Lola Vices. Oh, yes, caliente. Scrumptious. She's there with the NXT Women's Champion, another hottie, La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer. And basically, Lola's like, whoever wins the main event, Stephanie's ready for whoever wins the main event, and then Lola's like, well, whoever wins at Battleground, I got next. And then Julia comes in. I'm like, uh-oh. And then basically says, I'm going to win. I'm going to beat Jordan, and then I'm going to beat you at Battleground. See you at Battleground. She almost messed up and almost forgot the pay-per-view. Anyway. But she's like, I will see you at Battleground. Will she? We'll have to see in the main event. And that's that. 2.25 out of 5 stars. And that's that. Alright, then we go to the 25-man Battle Royal for a shot at the NXT title at Battleground against Oba! Who? Remy Darula. Alright, so we got Trick Willie, Shamon, Bouncy, Javon Evans, Brad Baylor from Evolve, Timothy Thatcher, Ricky Smokes, part of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes of Swipe Right, that's from Evolve, Timothy Thatcher from Evolve, Sean Legacy from Evolve, and I'll talk about Sean Legacy in a minute. So we have Tavion Heights, Ethan Page, Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne, Lexus King, Sean Spears, Nico Vance, Brooks Jensen, Ashanti the Adonis, Wesley, Tyreek Igve, Tyson DuPont from NXT. Then from LFG, we had Chris Holland, Shiloh Hill. We also had Charlie Dempsey, Yoshiki Inamura, Josh Briggs, Rich Holland. And from TNA, we had from the Rascals, Zachary Wentz, seeing his old friend, Mr. Wesley. And to round out this little shindig, we had the NXT debut of Elijah from TNA. Or Elias. We don't remember him as Elias. So he comes out, massive pop, and he, sings a song, which is funny as hell. And he's like, who wants to walk with Elijah? I do. Man, that's that. How great would it be if Elijah teamed up with the now gone from AEW, I was going to do a video last night, but I fell asleep. But the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch, are now gone from AEW. They got released yesterday, so they can appear on NXT anytime they want. How great would it be if Elijah teamed up with the Righteous, who teamed up with Killer Cross, and Killer Cross went on his little Twitter machine, and I'll put up a little video of him listening to the Righteous theme song from Ring of Honor, and he's like, and then Vincent pretty much, replied to it. He's like, oh, that would be an amazing faction. And you add Scarlet Bordeaux in that. So we got all that. So anyway, alright, so we got all that. Alright, so the bell rings, Chris Island is thrown out pretty much like in 3 seconds by Lexus King, who then gets thrown out by Shiloh Hill. And then we get all that. But the real start of this Battle Royal was Sean Legacy. I don't watch Evolve. I mean, I do have Tubi, but but I don't really watch much of Evolve. But this Sean Legacy guy is really impressed me in this Battle Royal. I thought he was going to be out midway through, but he lasted, I think, until the final 5 or I think it was the final 5. Yeah. The final 5, and then a Gilmore cutter cuts Sean Legacy off by Javon Evans, and then Ethan Page low-bridged him and got rid of him. So good performance by Sean Legacy from Evolve. So look out for him in NXT. In Evolve. I think he has a great future if he gets promoted to NXT, or maybe someday to Reign Master, but we'll see after that. Alright, so the final 4 are El Ego, Ethan Page, Bouncy, Javon Evans, Sean Spears, and for the love of God, Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne. So Baby Orton is in it, the fans are chanting, Baby Orton! Blah, 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 blah. I love the 3-way skin the cat during this match, which was great. With a springboard, Gilmore cutter hits Miles Bourne, but Ethan Page and Sean Spears cut off another springboard Gilmore cutter, and then they pretty much throw out Javon Evans, who was having a Kofi Kingston-like moment, like he's at the Royal Rumble, saving himself with Skin the Cats and holding on to the ropes and shit. Alright, so now we're down to the final 3, Sean Spears, Miles Bourne, and Ethan Page. So Miles Bourne and Ethan Page get rid of Sean Spears, so it's down to Miles Bourne and Ethan Page. And I go, great, we're going to see Oba versus Ethan Page again? Do we? No! Ethan Page gets eliminated at pretty much almost at the same time by Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne, for a double elimination and a huge upset win. Baby Orton, Miles Bourne gets the win in 23 minutes exactly, and none of us had this on our bingo card last night, but Miles Bourne gets a world title shot, and he's only like 20-something years old. He's going up against Oba at Battleground. Is he going to win? No. There is no way he's winning that title. No way. If he does, it'll probably be the most shocking victory in NXT this year. Even though this one was, in a way, but we got that. But, pretty good Battle Royals. I give it 3.25 out of 5 stars. And then after the match, the rest of Catchpoint 3.1 come in to celebrate. So basically, Tavion comes in, Maddie Winkowski comes in, and even Charlie Dempsey comes in. It's like, he does a golf clap. He's like, get that. So, congrats to Miles Baby Orton Osborne. And that's that. Alright, then we go to back with Sarah Schreiber. She's with Jordan Grace, who's ready to become the #1 contender. And then Bucky Hogan 2.0, Izzy Game, comes in, talking some shit. And then the birthday girl, Lash Legend, done. She comes in looking amazing and says, Arr! And starts laughing at Izzy. And then Jordan Grace says, well, I'll beat you. I'll beat both of you on the other side after I win the NXT Women's title. And that's it. But damn, Lash and Izzy are like 6 feet tall, I think. Or at least near 6 feet. Jordan Grace is 5'2". She's around my height. I'm 5'4". I don't know if it was the platform boots. I don't know. But damn, freaking Jordan Grace looked like a midget. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry I said midget. I'm sorry. My brother hates midgets. Don't ask me why. He just does. A freaking midget! Go figure that one out. Let me move on with that. Alright, so I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we get to Jada Parker versus Carmen Petrovich. Carmen gets a jobber entrance. Not that comic book entrance that we love, but yeah. Alright, this match was meh. It starts off with Jada powering Carmen into the corner. To start, Carmen comes right back with something like a basement Rough Rider. Woo, woo, woo. You blew it. And then Carmen sends Jada outside for a big flippy dippity-doo, but gets caught with a spinning elbow to face on the inside of the ring. Then we get the teardrop in the corner, sets up a seated neck crank. But Carmen fights out of that. She knocks Jada into the corner for a running kick to face. Not like a Yakuza kick, per se, but... well, maybe it was. For a running kick to face for a near fall. And Carmen's getting all upset. She's frustrated. Goes for the spin kick. It missed. And Jada hits Hypnotique. 1, 2, 3 in just over 4 minutes. Jada Parker gets the win. And that's that. Then after the match... she basically continues to beat up on Carmen Petrovich, and then the resident crazy girl, Thea Hale, comes in and makes the save, and then Jada knocks Thea Hale off the apron, and then but then she has to bail because Carmen got up and almost kicked her face off. So I'll probably get Jada Parker versus Thea Hale next week on the program. I don't know what we're going to get. But we will see what happens with that. Alright, then we go to Ava Rain's office, and she has like a bunch of security guards there. Why? Don't know. But anyway, Joe Hendry, the TNA champion, comes in and says, I want a piece of Trick Williams' ass. And Ava's like, alright, well, I can't give it to you right now, but what I will do is, for the first time ever at a NXT pay-per-view, the TNA World title will be defended as Joe Hendry will take on Trick Williams at Battleground, and next week, we got a contract signing, and you know how those go. So, that's a pretty good match. Big match for Battleground. Trick Williams going after Joe Hendry, and I would dare to say that Trick Willie may be the first person, maybe the first person to hold the TNA title in NXT. He might bring it over to NXT. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Alright, so I give that 2.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on. Alright, then we get a video on the Boricua Gangsters OTM. That's Lucius Price and shoot, I forgot the other guy's name. Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. So they're on their way back, back into that tag team division with not that many, a lot of people going after Hank and Spank's titles. And so we'll see what happens with that. So good video there. Alright, then we see people walking in the back. We see Wes Lee on the phone with, I don't know who. So he gets off and tells Tyreek and Tyson that everybody has a price. So was he talking to Ted DiBiase? Maybe, I don't know. Alright, so we got that. Alright, then we see Yoshiki Inamura, the legend. And he's a little bit disappointed because he eliminated his good buddy Josh Briggs in a battle royal. He's like, I disappointed you. I can't be your partner anymore. I'm on my way back to Japan. And then pretty much Briggs is like, no, you don't have to go back to Japan. It's okay. People make mistakes. And Nomura's like, I can't be your partner no more. I disappoint you, my friend. So then Inamura gives Josh Briggs his cowboy vest back. And then they pretty much break up. Sucks to be them. And then the culling comes in. So we see Izzy Dame, Nico, and the resident virgin Brooks Jensen, who comes in and kind of sticks it to his former partner, Josh Briggs, and says, tough break, Josh, tough break. It seems like every partner you had is broken up. We broke up. I went my own way. I'm with the culling now. And now Inamura says, fuck you. He says, you know what the problem is? You. You've always been the problem. Then again, put him with garbage partners. I don't know. So, hopefully Josh Briggs is back on his feet. Maybe goes for a singles run. Maybe finds an actual good partner. Don't know who. But we get that. So, all that, I gave 2.5. 2.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we see Charlie Dempsey of Catchpoint 3.1. He suggests that Miles, don't call him Ozzy Osbourne, who surprisingly won that battle royal. So he wants Miles to give up the title shot and give it to him for the good of the team. Then he says some shit about Oba, and then on cue, Oba! Whoo! Femi comes in and it says, Miles, I'm impressed. I'm from Wakanda. So he says, I will see you at Battleground. And then Charlie Dempsey says, well, it won't be Miles getting the shot. I'm going to get the shot. And then Miles like, no, there, Mr. Rio-san. He says, how about next week, you show me that you can beat Oba. Man, Oba's like, what are you talking about? So Miles, so actually Oba's like, okay, might work for me. And then, Miles was saying that, saying some stuff that Charlie Dempsey said that Oba was like this, some ridiculous stuff that, Charlie Dempsey said about Oba. And then, you get that, and then Miles is like, damn, he's pissed. I think it meant, I don't know about if he meant Oba was pissed or Charlie Dempsey was pissed. And then, Charlie Dempsey says, I love your selective hearing there, Miles. What? Can you say it in my good ear? Alright, so we got that. So next week, Oba with a little bit of a warm-up match against Charlie Dempsey of Catchpoint 3.1. And we got that. Alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. Then we go to not a lecture per se, but we go to Chase 2! And we see Cale Dixon and, what's his name? The other guy. Not Cyrus Griffin, Araya Connors. So they're there with Mr. Chase, and, they give Mr. Chase some new gear. It's like, we hate this gear. We need some new gear. It's a brand new semester. Chase U is back in business, and we want to have some new gear. We want new gear for you, Mr. Chase. So they give him a new T-shirt, and which Mr. Chase did not like. Then he puts on gear number 2. It's a tracksuit, which I loved actually. And then, I don't know if Mr. Chase liked it, but Cale Dixon and Araya Connors loved it. They're like, oh, works for you, Mr. Chase. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that and more in the next episode of Chase U. We got that. Somebody, I smell smoke. Not from my house. I mean, somebody must be smoking a barbecue. Then again, maybe smoking a stogie. I don't know. Not that that's not Rosa. Rosa doesn't smoke. I smoke her ass, if you know what I mean. She's gonna be cooking up a nice fine steak in a little bit. Well, we're watching AEW coming up in about 5 minutes, so I gotta finish this off. Alright, so I gave that 2.25 out of 5 stars. Then we go to your main event of NXT number 1 contenders match. Jordan Grace taking on my girl Julia for a shot at Stephanie McCourt at Battleground. It started off really sloppy. But then near the end of the match, it was great. I want them to run it back without botching. But anyway. So they start off with some forearms. Julia knocks Jordan into the corner, starts hammering away. Then a gut wrench face plant. Oh, that one. Julia came off the ropes and it looked like a tilt-a-whirl gut wrench face plant. And Julia landed on her head. I was like, ah! And commentary was like, ah! Shit! I was like, oh gosh, she broke her neck. And everybody in the crowd went, oh! And this wasn't the first time. So Julia grabs her head, referee immediately, good job on the referee's part, looked at Julia and asked if she was like still alive. But Julia fought back, breaks up a middle rope suplex, hits a neck breaker on the floor. Ow. As we go to break, we come right back. Jordan fights out of a cravat, hits a spine buster for a near fall, and then Julia pulls her into a guillotine. Very weird to get her in the guillotine. And then Jordan reverses into an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. Then she hits a really botched-like Michinoku driver again. Kind of like compressing that neck. Ugh. And then a delayed superplex into a jackhammer. Wow. For a near fall. To get back up, Julia hits a Northern Lights driver and kind of almost dropped Jordan Grace on her neck for a near fall. Then locks in a modified octopus. Then at one point, Julia hits a sick DDT, spiked Jordan Grace right on her head. Ugh. Then they form it out. Jordan wins that. Picks Julia up, hits the Juggernaut driver, bitch. 1, 2, 3 in under 13 minutes. Jordan Grace gets the win, even though Jordan was not getting cheered much because Julia was getting a ton of cheers. So, I mean, that might be her swan song, and maybe she's going up to the main roster. She'll be on Raw this Monday night, the team with Roxanne Perez against Io and Mommy Rhea Ripley, after what they did on Raw last week, Raw on Monday night. We got that. Alright, so Jordan Grace gets the win in a sloppy yet good match. I give it 3.25 out of 5 stars. And then afterwards, La Primera, Stephanie McCourt comes out for a stare down with Jordan Grace to end the show. So that was pretty damn good. So a pretty decent episode. Decent episode of NXT. And I gave NXT, what did I give NXT last night? 7.5 out of 10 stars. And that's all I gotta say pretty much about that. And we move on with that. Alright, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Dynamite's about to start on TBS, so check that out. I will be back a little bit later with your AEW review right here again on the channel. Is that the same theme song? Let me check this out. Hold on. Oh, it's a different theme. I don't know who sings it, but it's better than... I think it's much better than the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited. But, yeah, we got that. Alright, we are live from Detroit, Michigan for Dynamite at this, like, rinky-dink... we're at the Masonic Temple Theater, a lovely theater for Dynamite. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I'm gonna go watch Dynamite. You should too. And that's all I gotta say about that. Until next time, my friends. Once again, 7.5 out of 10 stars for NXT last night. And we're gonna start off with the Hangman, Adam Page, doing some crazy cowboy shit. And maybe a face-to-face with Ocean Spray. But the Hangman is here in Detroit, Michigan. And tomorrow, we got a special appearance from Rhino. But, we'll see what happens with that. Alright, the Hangman's here. He's gonna talk to us. So, I'm gonna go watch him. That's that. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, if you're not down with all that, I got 3 words for you. Fuck you, man. And that's it. We are out. We are out like Tyson. And that's it. Enjoy your rest of your Wednesday night, and I'll see you guys later right here on the channel. But until next time, peace.